Hello, hello, Mr. Din here once again. So this is a video for IB year 2. So all you guys, Tyler, Kiana, Maria, this is all for you guys. Um, we're gonna get going with our school year. Hopefully you guys have your new bills ready to go. And we're just gonna dive right in. Now, the this unit, which is topic number 4, is called Ecology and Environmental Systems. We have a whole class at Downtown Magnets devoted to just this. It's called AP Environmental Science. For ecology, it's very interesting. It's a fascinating field of knowledge because it's all about interactions between the living and the non-living world. So in the past 3 units, what we talked about were cells, molecular bio, and also genetics, but we haven't yet talked about the environment. Human beings and life we have to exist in relationship to the external environment around us. It's only obvious. So what is our effect on the environment, and how does the environment affect us? It's a wonderful field of knowledge. We're going to talk about global climate change. We're going to talk about eating, food webs. You guys may know it as food chains. We're going to talk about events in the history of our planet that have dramatically changed our species. There's a lot of exciting things to talk about. So before you watch this video, I wanted you guys to watch something that's happening in California right now. We have on record one of the greatest wildfires affecting the northern part of the state. We're not out of the wildfire scare yet because we have another heat wave coming, and Southern California could be affected as well. So what is our relationship to the fires that surround us? And how do the fires affect our lives as well? So there's this relationship between the living and the non-living that I want to discuss in this unit. Okay, with that context, I want to dive into our first lesson today, which is going to be about something called spheres of Earth. Now, a sphere, you think of like a three-dimensional circle, right? But in this case, we're going to not talk about three-dimensional spheres. We're going to talk about the entire globe, Earth, chopped up into 4 distinct sections. And some of these are really familiar with you. Some of these are really familiar to you, I should say. Some of them will not be. So I'm going to introduce to you the 4 spheres of Earth today. And with that said, let's share the screen and show you where to write down all this information. Okay. First and foremost, we have to show you the bill once again. It's the same as last year, pretty much. Page 0, page 1. Don't forget to put the page number and the title of the page. 4 and 5. And finally, we're on 6 and 7. Amazon rainforest on page 6 and on page 7 as well. We're going to talk a little bit about what's happening in the Amazon rainforest also. Okay, what I want you guys to do is write down the goal of the day, just like last year. I'm going to stop this share, and then I'm going to share with you our goal of the day today. It looks something like this. Where are you? There you are. Why can't I see you? Where are you? There you are. Okay, so here's the goal. If you want, pause the video now, write down the goal of the day. Typically, I give you like 30 seconds to write it in class, but you can pause the video now, so there you go. Students understand 1, the spheres of Earth, hydrosphere, atmosphere, biosphere, and geosphere. There you go. Write that down into page number 7. And finally, let's go over the agenda for today's lesson. Okay, looks something like this. Number 1 is I'm going to show you a video on Schoology about the California wildfires. Number 2, I'm going to have you guys go out to like right outside your door or somewhere where it's safe and go collect samples of each sphere. You're going to take a picture of it and then you're going to submit it to me. Number 3, I'm going to do an explanation on my document camera today. And finally, I'm going to have you guys write something called a California wildfire thinking map, and I'm going to show you how to do that at the very end. Okay. Now, when I say collect samples of the spheres, I don't want you to go out to somewhere that's 10 miles away. Just walk outside your door or walk outside where you live and then collect some samples. They're literally right there in front of you. So don't go too far. Don't go to Mars and collect a stone. Okay. Now we're going to zip forward because a lot of the lesson is going to be on Schoology, just like last semester. And we're going to talk about the spheres of the Earth. And so here you go. The camera should be coming up. There you go. All right. And I'm going to turn my page horizontal like this. I'm going to move some stuff out of the way. All right. Okay, let me get set up on my end really quickly. Okay. And I am ready. All right, so this is called spheres of Earth. If you have your markers, take those out. Spheres. Actually, you know what? This might change my screen. Hopefully it doesn't. Here we go. Can you all see that? Good. Spheres of Earth. Okay, this goes on page 7 of your bills. You guys are IB year 2, cohort number, you guys would be cohort number 6. Yes, cohort 6. I had to double check because if I said 5, you guys would have gotten on me for that. You guys will always and forever be my favorite cohort number 6. I have very, very high confidence that all of you will take the external exam this year and pass with flying colors as long as we work hard. Okay. So over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a big Earth. Oh, that is not a very round Earth, but you guys get the idea. Okay. Now Earth can be drawn. We have a polar ice cap up here. What's left of it anyway. And we have a polar ice cap down there. And I'm going to draw some continents and stuff. There you go. Something like that. This is not accurate, by the way. You know, don't call this one Asia, this one Africa, and so on. Okay. Okay. The 4 spheres are pretty simple. Protecting the Earth in orbit, in space, is called the atmosphere. So I'm going to represent the atmosphere as a dotted line. Alrighty. Now this atmosphere, I'm going to write it up here. Is going to become really important for us, but I wanted to introduce it to you guys today. It is a protective, life-saving layer of ozone. Make a flashcard. Protective, life-saving layer of ozone. Ozone's chemical formula, if you're curious, is O3 on the bottom. And it serves as an insulator as well. Now what that means is an insulator, like a blanket, keeps you warm. So when you're sleeping at night, you are putting insulation over your body so your body stays warm when you sleep. You might not be doing that because it's been so hot, but that's what an insulator is used for. Okay. The second sphere of Earth is diving into the actual rock formations of the Earth. If you ever fallen on concrete, you know how hard a rock is. Okay. This is called the geosphere. Can y'all see that? Nope, now you can. Just like last year, I'm going to have you guys write this into your lab notebook, and I'm going to have you take a picture of it so I know you're following along. The geosphere is the domain of land. And you know what? That might be a little hard to see, so I'm going to zoom in here. There you go. The domain of land. Otherwise known as terrestrial area. Now, if you like to collect rocks, which I like to collect rocks, you'll know that rocks are made of many minerals. Minerals like coal, oil, natural gas. You have other kinds of minerals as well, so all your birthstones, amethyst, peridot, opal, topaz, all of those different kinds of rocks belong to the geosphere. Okay. Next is all of the water, so the hydrosphere. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. In this case, I'm going to represent water as these little wavy lines. Okay. So this is the hydrosphere. The hydrosphere is the domain of water. Most of the water on our planet is salt water. There's only a small fraction of the water that's actually fresh enough for us to drink. And there is less than, that's a less than symbol, 5% fresh water. Can you believe that? So don't waste fresh water, everybody, unless you like to drink salt water, which I know you don't. Okay. Finally, we haven't even yet talked about the living stuff. These are all the non-living spheres of Earth: atmosphere, hydrosphere, and geosphere. So let's now talk about the things, the sphere that encompasses all of life on Earth, and that is called the biosphere. That's a lot more, sounds a lot better when people are actually responding to me. I've drawn a tree to represent all of the living things on the Earth. This is called the biosphere. So the biosphere is the domain of organisms. Everything from a bacteria, everything as small as a bacteria to as big as a blue whale. Fun fact, the blue whale is the largest organism to have ever lived, as far as we can tell. So the domain of organisms include aquatic life. It includes terrestrial life. It includes life that's living deep underground, deep in the ocean. It includes life that is living high up in the sky. All of that falls under the biosphere. So there you have it. 4 spheres: atmosphere, biosphere, hydrosphere, and geosphere. Okay. Now, we've talked about this before from last time, but I wanted to refresh your memory about where Earth came from. The Earth did not spontaneously appear out of nowhere as if by magic. It came from the development of a molten rock. And that molten rock at the very beginning of about 4.5 billion years ago, Earth was a molten rock. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw for you what that molten rock looks like. And I'm going to title it History of Earth in a nutshell. Ta-da! And I'm going to draw it in red because when Earth was just forming, the sun's gravitation pulled together a bunch of different debris from other parts of the galaxy. And that debris swirled around the gravity of the sun. And then eventually that debris collided together and formed a preliminary, a primordial, a beginning Earth. So this is called molten Earth. We talked about this when we talked about the origin of life. So where did life come from? When the Earth was molten, there's no way life could have lived back then. It's too dang hot. That was a lesson for last year at the beginning. Don't you guys remember that? How fun that was? Now, back in those days, and when I say those days, I mean 4.6 billion years ago, BYA, billion years ago, you had the sun far away, 93 million miles, shooting a bunch of very harmful ultraviolet radiation at the Earth. And this ultraviolet radiation made it really hard for things to survive, as if the molten heat was not enough. So what we have, ladies and gentlemen, is we have a very basic timeline. We know the Earth is 4.6 billion years. And the way we know it is we can actually study the rocks that come from the deepest, oldest parts of the Earth. That geology is a bit outside the scope of this class, but I just wanted to tell you how we know it's 4.6 billion. Okay. So down here on this timeline is now. And the ticks on this timeline is 1 billion years ago, 2 billion, 3 billion, 4 billion years ago. Earth was formed about 4.6 billion years ago. Formation. The oldest fossils of life we found so far is about 3.6 billion. We found them in Canada, if you guys remember. And then 3.6 billion years ago till now, what you have is a very steady, very slow progression of natural selection, which we'll talk about a little bit later. And then you fast forward all the way to now, and the dawn of man is so minuscule on this timeline, you can barely see it. Mankind hasn't been around for very long, ladies and gentlemen. It took that long from the formation all the way to the dawn of man for us to even have the tools to study and name all of these spheres of Earth. So I want you to walk away with two very important ideas. The first very important idea is that these four spheres of Earth work together in order to maintain life on Earth. The second really important idea is this relationship between the living and the non-living world. It's really important that we understand that difference, because whether you like it or not, we are always in interaction with the non-living world, and we don't even realize it. So a really important example here is the relationship between the air, the atmosphere, and living organisms. We breathe in oxygen from the air, even though the air is a mixture of very little oxygen compared to other gases. We rely on that oxygen to breathe. So there's a relationship there between us and the oxygen in the air. In this case, the oxygen in the atmosphere. Those are the two big ideas that I want you to walk away from this. I think let's review our goals, and then I think that's it. Where are you? There you are. Okay. Let's take a look at our goals. Here we go. Students understand the spheres of Earth: hydrosphere, atmosphere, biosphere, and geosphere. Okay, sounds pretty good to me. Yeah. So hopefully you guys walked away feeling really comfortable with the difference between these four spheres. If you don't quite understand yet, you can always message me on Schoology, or you can talk to me on Remind. Okay, I hope you guys are doing well wherever you are in Los Angeles and around the world. I do miss you guys. I wish I was in class with you all, interacting with you personally. So be well, talk to you soon, and then I'll see you. You guys are period 6, so I'll see you guys on Wednesday of this week. Okay. Bye-bye.